keep it moving then. Next up, I mentioned Purdue a little bit. I do want to talk about them. So why don't we go there first? They are now 11-1 on the season. I believe they beat Incarnate Word by 20 points tonight. Ashton, I'm going to you first on this one. What's your take on Purdue, and what would you give them to make them just a little bit better this season?
I would give them a 3-man swing man that could really can defend multiple positions in general. I think Ron Harper Jr. kind of exposed that, position in particular, where, he was able to get what he wanted, not only inside, but outside. And, I don't think Purdue had an answer for him defensively. That's basically it. I really like their team from top to bottom. Zach Edey, Jaden Ivey's box office. I just think they need, a 3-man swing man that can really guard multiple positions, especially when you have big-time wing scorers like a Ron Harper Jr.
Yeah, Steve, where are you at?
It's another team. It's hard to kind of pick them apart a little bit because it's a Ron. Number one, make Ron Harper make that shot 2 out of 3 times for it to count. You could say that, but when you look at their offensive numbers, 41 from 3, 75 from the free throw line, 52 from the field, and almost 20 assists, just for them to say, can they stay consistent with that? Can they keep those offensive numbers? Because Matt Painter's teams are going to be tough. They're going to defend. They're going to compete. If they can keep those offensive numbers throughout the Big Ten play, then they will win the Big Ten. I know we talked about that last week. Point guard play, you'll always kind of say something about, from that situation. But when you look at the numbers by committee, by the 2 point guards, it's not bad, when you look at assist to turnover ratio from that standpoint. But Eric Hunter, if you had to kind of pinpoint one thing, a wild card, Eric Hunter, his numbers are down from last year. He's got experience, been in the program. Can he finish the season strong January, February, March, and help them make a big run to a national championship game?
Yeah, I think there's 2 things for me. One is being great defensively. If you ask Matt Painter, he will say we're not very good defensively, because I asked him that at the Hall of Fame Classic, and he said we're not very good defensively. So I think that's one place they can really stand to improve. The other one is their ability to handle teams that are going to pressure on the perimeter. I think why they struggled against NC State and Rutgers is that their point guards are not great. Yeah, like they're not going to blow by anyone. So if you can force them, so much of what they do offensively is like they're going to run a set that'll scheme them into getting a post up for Zach Edey. And if you make them start that 40 feet away from the rim instead of 22 feet away from the rim, then all of a sudden Zach Edey's getting post touches like halfway up the lane instead of getting his post touch right in front of the rim where he can just turn and dunk it on you. So to me, those are the 2 big things for Purdue. The other one, someone said this to me the other day, that the most important player on that team is Sasha Stefanovic, and finding a way to keep him going. Because if you look at their best teams, where there was someone like a Dakota Mathias, or who was his brother's the tight end for the Bengals. Why am I blanking on his name? Grady. Yeah, like they just have these guys that don't miss, that make the right pass, that are just great at entry passes to some of the big guys in the post. And to get Sasha back to the point where he's like going for 18-6. I think he had 23-8 in the win over Villanova, getting him going again. Does that make sense? That one was a little weird to me. Of all the guys,
I think that's huge. I think that's huge. Like you touched on, we played him in the tournament in 2017, and Dakota Mathias. They had a couple guys like that man are so integral into what they're doing. Such a big piece, especially the way they want to throw that ball inside. And then, but the other big thing with them is their chemistry has been so good to this point. Is really, and Matt's done a phenomenal job of that. And guys like Williams has really submitted himself to what's best for everybody. Can they continue like that? Because if they can do that and touch up on these other things, they got a chance to have a special year.